All right. GM is, of course, completely saved because of Barack Obama. And, of course, Detroit. Mitt Romney wanted to burn Detroit down to the ground.
Yeah, that was his pledge.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he said, first of all, I want GM to go completely out of business, and then I want to dismantle it piece by piece, and after I'm done with that, I'm going to burn Detroit itself to the ground.
I don't remember that.
Well, no, yeah.
Then I'm going to work on Pontiac,
Right.
Michigan, and
Really?
I'm going to burn it to the ground.
Really? I don't remember.
Yeah.
One of the most interesting parts about that speech is he did it. He was at a podium.
Yes.
And he had a wick that led to the GM building, and he lit it on fire.
He lit it.
Symbolically.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Fortunately, Barack Obama was there to stamp it out
Yeah.
before it got to the building.
if I'm not mistaken, the Chrysler, the former head, Lee Iacocca, has supported Mitt Romney.
Yes,
And
he has endorsed him. Mhm.
Hasn't the newspaper in Detroit also endorsed
Yes.
Mitt Romney?
But that's because they
They
I don't
also
know,
hate Detroit.
They also hate
They
it.
hate
yeah.
Detroit. Okay. Anyway, so here is this thing about Jeep that just won't seem to go away, and I don't think in the end it's going to make any difference. We're going to go to this big board that we have here in the studio. We're building our election night set, and we have this giant tote board, and you might recognize it. I think it's from CBS in 1962. But it's this giant tote board that we're currently having the chalk numbers put in on just where the polls stand.
Yeah, the board doesn't look that impressive, but the person writing on it is a hologram.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know that. I thought that was,
we don't. It's not a real person.
I thought that was Andrew. He's just he doesn't work here.
It's a hologram of Andrew.
Okay, anyway, so we're going to go over the polls because some of the polls are shifting, and I just don't – I mean, I really, truly believe in protection of divine providence. I really think something good is going to happen here, something amazing, and it's all within the margin of error. I mean, Romney is still ahead, but it's all of it, is almost all of it, except for Hawaii and Utah. A lot of it are all in the margin of error.
Yeah, most of
states.
the country really close.
Yeah, really close. Okay, but there's this desperation of the Obama campaign to turn everything into a scandal and talk about anything but his record, because he's got Benghazi, he's got the Middle East, he has gas prices, he has food prices, he has joblessness. There's nothing he can say. So he's got to make a scandal out of something. Now, here's the ad that Romney was running that really has kind of caused all the problems.
Who will do more for the auto industry? Not Barack Obama. Fact checkers confirm his attacks on Mitt Romney are false. The truth? Mitt Romney has a plan to help the auto industry. He's supported by Lee Iacocca and the Detroit News. Obama took GM and Chrysler into bankruptcy and sold Chrysler to Italians who are going to build Jeeps in China. Mitt Romney will fight for every American job.
Okay.
So they're gonna build Jeeps in China. Now that ad doesn't say every Jeep in China. It says they're going to build Jeeps in China. Now Romney went on the campaign trail, and he said eventually they're going to build all the Jeeps in China. So they're going to start moving the jobs overseas. Well, Romney came under attack by all the usual suspects, the mainstream media. I mean, they couldn't care less about the Benghazi scandal, but the Jeep thing. Oh, there's trouble on the Jeep thing.
When the auto industry faced collapse, Mitt Romney turned his back. Even the conservative Detroit News criticized Romney for his wrong-headedness on the bailout. And now, after Romney's false claim of Jeep outsourcing to China, Chrysler itself has refuted Romney's lie. The truth? Jeep is adding jobs in Ohio. Mitt Romney on
As
Ohio
well as
jobs? Wrong then.
Let Detroit go bankrupt.
Dishonest now.
Dishonest now. They put let Detroit go bankrupt as if that's what he's being dishonest about. He's never said he didn't want Detroit to go through bankruptcy.
The people in Ohio, this is really targeted to about 200,000 people in Ohio. That's it. It's really this whole debate is targeted to those people. And the bad thing, I think, for Obama is people who live in Ohio are fair and decent. All they need is the information. And the money that has been spent in Ohio is ridiculous. The amount of money targeting, especially the Cleveland area, is just phenomenal. And Romney, I think, has been outplayed in Ohio. The president knew that it would come down to Ohio. And I can't say he's been outplayed. He's had, 4 years. Remember how many times he was in Ohio? From the beginning, soon as he was elected, he was in Ohio, 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 Ohio. He knew that it was going to come down to Ohio. Me personally, 3 years ago when we were there and the traffic was all jammed up and everything else, I mean, that's when I was like, I would hate him for coming to the state all the time because he shuts everything down. But it worked. And the people have such a bad view of, at least they did, of Mitt Romney. I think Mitt Romney had a 10% approval rating about a year ago, didn't he? It was awful in Ohio. It was something really, really horrible. Now, his approval rating is either tied with the president or just above. But there's a group of people in Ohio, from what I understand, that just they're like 16% of the population that are on our side, that are Tea Party. They're like, there's no difference between the two because of the way this campaign is unfolded. There's no difference between the two. Why am I going to go out and why would I support Romney? It doesn't make a difference. It does make a difference. It makes a huge difference. It makes a difference in honesty and integrity and decency and honor and hard work and all of the principles that built our country. All of them. They're all up at stake. Now, I don't know why Romney doesn't just shut this door quickly by showing, you know what, he says he's rebuilding GM. You cannot believe this man. He says he's rebuilding GM. How many of your tax dollars did he take to bail out GM? And then he helped appoint the new CEO of GM. This was his doing.
They fired the last one, brought this guy in.
They brought a new guy in to GM. Now, here's Obama's new guy in China. He's Obama's choice for CEO of GM. He's running GM. Here he is in China. Listen carefully.
Almost 7 out of every 10 automobiles, 7 out of 10 of our vehicles were made outside the United States. We have 11 joint ventures in China with SAIC and FAW. Mm-hmm. We operate 11 assembly plants in China, 4 powertrain plants in 8 cities across the country. We regard our 11 joint ventures as 11 keys to success, not just in China, but globally. Our commitment to working in China, with China, for China remains strong and focused on the future. Right. We're now building out the Advanced Technology Center, which will bring our research and development that is centered largely in the United States. We're going to diversify that more into China because we think this market is so critically important to the success of our company.
Wow. Listen to that. Okay, Now let me just go through this. He is bragging about how strong they are in China. He brags about his labor union. The first thing, he brags about labor unions.
The Chinese labor unions.
Yes. Now, let's just remember what the Chinese labor unions are all about.
They're communist organizations.
Yes.
Run by the party.
Yes. Do you think that the workers are treated well in China? So here's GM bragging about working with the Chinese labor unions.
By the way, Chinese jobs, not American.
Yes.
And he's bragging about 70% of all GM vehicles being built outside the U.S. now.
7 out of every 10 vehicles made by GM are made outside of the United States. This is not a guy that's saying, why there's not an ad on this in Ohio is beyond me. Why President Obama sent your money to Detroit. What has Detroit done with your money? Here's the GM of... here's the CEO of GM in China. Then just play the clips. He's bragging about the power, bragging about 7 out of 10 vehicles made in China. He brags about his labor union buddies. He says we have 11 plants, 4 powertrain in 8 cities. And we consider these the 11 keys to success, not just in China, but globally. In other words, we're not going to succeed by building anything in America. We're going to succeed globally because we're building it in China. He says we are in, with, and for China.
Working for China, he says.
Working in, with, and for China. Just playing that. And then this last place, we're going to bring our research and development to China because we believe China is strategic for our growth in the future. Mm-hmm. He's talking about shifting jobs from America. Why the Romney campaign is not all over this is beyond me.
I don't know. And no one's seen it. No one's heard it. Unless you listen to this program, you likely have not heard that audio. And most people have not heard the fact that we're going to lose probably $20 to $25 billion on the GM bailout. When that's shown in polling and they ask, what do you think of the bailout? It's about split. When you say, well, we're going to lose $20 billion, now what do you think of the bailout? It's minus 20 for Obama.
The information here is critical to get to your friends in Ohio because Ohio is a big labor market, especially Toledo is a huge labor market for GM and for the auto industry.
And this is the president's main campaign push right now.
And this is not saying about Chrysler. This is saying about GM, where he's saying, I saved GM. No, Mr. President. You sent $25 billion that we're going to lose. You upped it. You then hand-selected this guy, and here he is in China saying, we're going to move our research and development. Those are the best-paying jobs. We're going to move our research and development to China, and that we have 11 keys to success, and those 11 keys are the 11 plants in China that we're going to expand, and because we're into working with, in, and for China. My gosh. Slam dunk. Why it's not used is beyond me. I just don't understand it. But that's why I'm not running for president, I guess.